Namaskar, this is Professor Aman Agarwal from Indian Institute of Finance, and I'm very happy to welcome my three guests from three different domains altogether who are here with me. One of my guests is from Turkey today, another one from United States of America, and the third one from India. Now, it's a pleasure to welcome everybody and the other participants who have come here to attend. We are live on Facebook together with being on Zoom. And we are happy to say that we are on almost 112th webinar series, which we have been hosting from the 15th of April 2020. We have had a large number of them. We have had almost about 34 countries represented in various programs. And we have had almost about 4,000 plus people who have benefited from some of these webinars, which we have organized. Now, I would like to give the disclaimer before I go forward and then begin and tell the basic rules for the discussion today and then the recognition which we post on these women warriors or the Knoghthoods as we call them now. It's a pleasure to welcome you all. We are observing all the norms and nomenclatures as have been advised by the Ministry of Home Affairs in conducting webinars or web meetings. And as a result, we have kept everybody's audios and videos off, except for our guests. So everybody else is requested to kindly keep their videos and audios off. If time permits, we will open them for questions towards the end, and we will have question answer sessions towards the end. The program is for 1 hour, so we like to contain it within an hour. And in case it exceeds, then we may not have the question answer session, but otherwise we will take few questions from our guests who have come to listen to these young ladies. The whole session of the webinars was started to bring in positivity in the environment, and the prime reason was to induce positivity in almost all spheres of life. And as a result, we started with the essence of life and growth. Two of my speakers here have already been as my guests on the essence of life and growth, and it has been a pleasure. Their programs are there on our YouTube channel called the IIF News and Broadcasting. We have over 450 videos which are available free of cost on different aspects of research, on economics, on various interviews, and large number of other programs which have been kept online for people to benefit from. Today, my guests are in a program called the Women of the 21st Century. This is something which we constituted about almost a month back, where we thought of recognizing the women and their contributions. Women whom we had known, whom we had seen grow, and then also there's a panel of about 5 people who decides upon who is to be chosen amongst the names who are proposed by each one of us as members of that panel. And I'm happy that these 3 young bright women have been chosen. As you can see, we have Professor Banu Durukan, who is from Turkey. She's a full professor there, and also chair of finance, and also the acting dean. She has been director of a department also. She's sitting on various journals as an editor or as a co-editor, and has been editing and referring, including she's been referring for a journal called Finance India. Then we have, along with her, Miss Monika Gulati. She is someone, again, Banu has been known for me for over 20 years now. Monika, again, has been someone who I have known for good about 15 years now, as an invitee when I met her, being at the All India Radio, being interviewed myself on various economic issues, as she looks after the External Services Division at All India Radio, various programs and structures which are created on economic issues and others. She does programming on almost all spheres, but I am basically called for economic issues once or twice in a year in this particular division, which goes across the world at large platforms. Monika, again, has been a broadcaster and has been doing a great service to the nation in terms of providing news and building up news which is relevant for people, not only within the country, but across the globe. The third guest of mine is, again, another person who I've known for over 20 years, Dr. Jayshree Pandya. She is the founder, CEO of the RICS Group, which organizes a large number of platforms. She's also engaged with 2 NGOs, which is in the healthcare space, and we will get to listen to her extensively in our program on the 25th of July on the healthcare economics and COVID-19, because 2 of her associations engage her with healthcare, and she has been doing, apart from the work in the financial risk space and the risk space, in technological risk space, which she has been working on for the last 20 years and grooming this organization. But she has also been working in the health space and doing a lot of work during this period of pandemic in terms of getting it up. So this is something which we thought we recognize. As you can see, a host number of other women who we have recognized from different countries who have come across in different spheres of life. Then we had Elizabeth. I do not know if she'll be joining in today. We had a problem last time when we had her on the program with network problems, and as a result, she could not contain her till the end. She might be joining in today if that network problem is resolved, because she's visiting her home country in UK, where she does not have internet, but is based on the mobile network, which she uses from the United States. So as a result, there was a glitch of Wi-Fi, but hopefully if she joins in, we will have her towards the end of the program, because we did ask her 3 questions, but then 2 questions were still left to discuss upon. Now, as I said, this was the prime purpose of this program, was to bring in that positivity, let women know about the kind of work women are doing, and then get motivated from there on. And that's where we thought of recognizing 3 women, 1 from within the country and 2 from overseas in different countries, to come on this platform to be recognized. We have with us on the panels, in the panels, large number of very senior people. I've seen 1 Secretary, Government of India, a couple of other very senior government officers who have joined us in this program, who are already there. I'd like to thank them for joining in. I also see 2 media persons who have joined in. I'd like to thank the media personnel to have joined in as well. As I said, the program is going live on Facebook while we are also here on Zoom. And from here on, I will begin. Let me just explain to my 3 guests how we are going to take it forward. In the same order as Banu, Monika, and Jayshree, if I can call all the 3 of you by the first names. We will go in the same order as Banu, Monika, and Jayshree. I have about 4 or 5 questions before you. I would request if you could respond to them. They are based on your personal life, your experience, and your contribution to the society. So this is not something which you need to do a lot of homework for, but I thought they would bring a different perspective of what you have been doing in whatever little way each one of us contributes to the growth of the society and the human mankind. And then, as I said, at the end, we recognize their contributions, issue them a certificate from the Institute for their recognizing them for their contributions, what they have been doing towards humanity, as well as towards the women empowerment and taking the cause of women and empowering and strengthening them in terms of what they should be doing. I will, as I said, begin with Banu and then Monika and Jayshree. All the 3 I have made you co-hosts, so you can unmute yourself whenever you like and mute yourself when the other person speaks. So we will be moving on one from one just in a second. Yes, perfect. So my first question to all 3 of you, as I said, we go to Banu, then Monika, and then we go to Jayshree, would be if you can enlighten us on your journey of life, both personally and professionally. How have you grown in the span of the last 30, 40 years, from the very young girl of being 6, 7, 8 years of age, when you started getting consciousness, understanding your own self, and then growing up to where you are today. Every decade, I understand there's a change in the life, the understanding of life. And I would request if you could highlight in about 2 to 3 minutes or 4 minutes or so, each one of you giving out your perspective of how that life and the journey has been from the very beginning till today. Beginning with Banu.
Okay, thank you. I would first of all like to thank Professor Agarwal and Indian Institute of Finance for choosing me to be here and share my thoughts. I come from Izmir, from Turkey. It's the 3rd biggest city of Turkey, and it's one of the most modern cities. And we have a very it's like a cradle of civilizations, as we say for Anatolia. Izmir is also full of different cultures. It's a multicultural city. We've had a lot of a big Jewish community, and we have a Greek heritage that comes by. Like my grandmother was from Greece. Actually, her family came to Izmir when there was this big population exchange between Greece and Turkey after the Ottoman Empire collapsed and the Turkish Republic was founded and so with all this combined experience of being in this multicultural city, I grew up in a very nice environment, and I went to American school. My primary school my teacher was very influential on me. And then after the American high school where I learned English, and I had again American teachers, British teachers, being in a multicultural environment, I always wanted to be a citizen of the world, actually. So I always felt like, you know, there's one humanity, maybe many cultures, but there's one humanity. And all my life growing up, education was very important. My parents never asked why when I asked money for books or for education. So I always wanted to be a teacher in a way. When I went to the primary school, I wanted to be a primary teacher. When I went to high school, I wanted to be a math teacher. And then I went and studied business. And I ended up at the university becoming a professor. After my education at the university, I went to the US to have an MBA. The initial plan was me to become an accountant, but then I continued my education going into PhD, because I always had this idea that I should teach at the university and share my knowledge, my experience, because I believed in education. I saw how things changed, also personally, how the effect of teachers on me. So I always wanted to be a part of education. And growing up, I always had, I was, you know, organizing kids younger than I am, trying to teach them some things, do some things with them. And then I ended up being a professor, and I really climbed in the hierarchy very high. I became one of the youngest professors in Turkey in the area of finance. But I always went after knowledge. You know, I was running after knowledge. I always wanted to learn, and what I learned, I always wanted to share it with others. And for me, education was not only the information that you learn in class, it was like a life experience. So having this social interaction with other people always enriched my life. When I went to the US, I was in Boston University, and this international environment really had a major influence on me. And I kept in contact with my friends from those times. And as a professor, even though I had my PhD back in here in Turkey, I always wanted to be a part of this international environment. And when our dean asked me to become the international relations coordinator, I accepted it. And I was part of this exchange between my university and other universities, and I loved the experience, and being a facilitator for the students so that they could have this experience as well. I could see how they changed before they went on exchange and after they came back, as well as this international students who came to study at our university, how their perceptions changed. And I've had a lot of administrative duties. I served as the associate dean. I was the head of the accounting and finance department for over 10 years. And I've been elected by my colleagues as the head again 2 years ago. And I have served as the international relations coordinator on my university. I served as the director of the Graduate School of Social Sciences, many administrative duties. But when I was doing all of these professionally, I always thought that, okay, if I serve on these roles, I should be adding something. I should be contributing to the society, to my university, and to the students. So I saw myself playing two roles in a way in contribution. One was my individual role, being in class, doing research, working with my thesis students, and trying to empower them, encourage them to take their chances, learn, and strive in life. And the other one, the administrative roles, I saw them as opportunities to make a difference by trying to improve the system, maybe contribute to the system. So, and here I am today. So thank you for valuing these contributions all the way from India. And I think we will continue with more afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Banu, for that brief introduction on your life and giving that insight going from your personal to professional life. I would now like to go to Monika to kindly enlighten us about her journey.
I'm Monika Gulati, and I did my post-graduation in child development from All India, from Lady Urban College, and now I'm working as program executive in All India in 26 years now. I'll be completing 26 years in another 2 days, and my journey had been very interesting, and I've been loving my work like anything. My job, my work is my passion. Every moment of my work I enjoy, and when I did my post-graduation in child development, I wanted to dedicate my few years for. So I picked up teaching Down syndrome cases, slow learners, and autistic children, because they are the children who need the support. And I dedicated my 5 years of my life to them, and I initiated my career with them, though it was not a career, but still I wanted to devote my working hours to them. And I started working with them. It was not possible to teach them, but they were slow learners. So coming across with them, autism, what autism is, how the parents are handling them, how difficult it is for them to accept. So I came, parents first have to accept the handicap, and then they can provide any help to them, to their kids. So I had to provide them counseling, I had to provide my support to the children, and be innovative with them, be creative with them, how to memorize, how to make them self-sufficient, how to make them social. And it was very interesting first 5 years for me. Then I joined All India Radio, and I got the job in Delhi government as a lecturer. But in the same month, but I preferred working for All India Radio as it had so many opportunities. And here I am able to meet anybody, I can approach anyone whom I want to meet. And working as an ethical broadcaster, as a public service broadcaster, had been a great learning experience. Just for one day, every day I go to office, and there is something new to add on to my knowledge, and it's a learning tree, and we can do whatever we want to in any aspect, any field, any area, any domain. We can just try to tap knowledge from there and provide awareness, information, entertainment to the communities. And it's been 26 years, and I'm very happy. Yeah.
Thank you, Monika, for that insight. As I said, every one of us has a story to tell, and it's important that we bring it out before people, because people need to know they get motivated. Many of us get motivated. It's irrespective of gender, but more women need motivation. So we thought we have this there. Now, I would request Jayshree, who has always been on the other side interviewing us so many years, but fortunately I've had the chance to interview her once or twice now this time, as against the other way around. So Jayshree, I would like your intake on your own life or journey, personally and professionally, please. We can't hear you, Jayshree. Can you unmute yourself?
Can you hear me now?
Perfect, thank you.
Okay,
and we are very happy that she's joined us at a very early hour, because in New York it's very early hours. And one thing which I have always enjoyed is good friends like her and all the ones who are here. Whenever I request them for anything, they never say no. This is something which I feel blessed with when I have friends like them. Please, Jayshree.
Thank you, Aman. So my journey of life, that's a very, I'm glad you asked that, question and to reflect on that, because while I have a public life, I am a private person and I do not like to talk much about me. But I'm glad you asked this question because it is important to take a pause and process the personal and professional world that defines us who we are as an individual that the world connects with. And I think there is a distinction between what the world sees and what we see in ourselves. And the difference is very important to understand because the criteria by which the world measures us, rates our success and failures, loves us or hates us, are very different from how we ourselves measure us. And for me, how the world sees me has not mattered much, I should say that, and not never mattered much. But how I see myself matters a lot and will always matter. So who am I? And why am I here? What is my identity? And where am I going are important questions that I would be happy to talk about. So who am I? I think first and foremost, I'm a fighter. But who we are is always becoming and is not static. So I'm a scientist and a security professional. I'm a mother and a wife. I'm a daughter and a sister and so on. So why am I here? Why we have taken birth is super important to understand, because if we do not understand why we are here, then we will not understand how to live. And it has taken me decades to understand this myself. But how now I'm very, very clear that my efforts are to protect the future of humanity. And that is what I am focused on today. And I will be focused on in the coming tomorrow. So what is my identity? This is a complex question, as identity is not a static concept. And identity is defined by activities and actions, routes and routines, biology and behaviors. And each stage of our lives shapes our identity. My identity as a young daughter was very different from my identity as a married woman. It confused me a lot and took a lot of time for me before I developed clarity as to who I am evolving into. And becoming a mother confused me even more. So balancing these personal roles with the professional roles made it even more challenging for my identity. Now, in all those different stages of life, as my identity evolved, one thing remained constant with me, and that was my fearless spirit. So I think I'm a fearless fighter, ready to take on challenges that come my way. And where am I going? I seriously do not know where I'm going, but I do know that wherever I'm going, there are going to be many, many unknowns, and I will keep trying to make those unknowns known.
True. Thank you, Jayshree, for that introduction. As you are working in risk space, the whole life is full of risks, and we have to balance those risks. And women are known for multitasking and balancing those risks and benefits for all in a very wonderful way. So you've outlined all of those criteria there. So I'll now go to Banu again. And Banu, my next question to all the three of you is, as a guru, I personally feel it's not that only people who teach in academics like you and me are gurus, but people in real life, whether it's in a workspace like a corporate environment or in the government space or in space like where Jayshree works, or even in hospitals or doctors or nurses, each one of us has that guru in us where we enlighten people and many souls. So I feel all the three of you have, as a guru, played a critical role in trying to enlightening large number of souls. I would really appreciate if you could highlight some of your own key contributions and some of those success path stories for us and our viewers here.
Thank you. When you ask me these questions, as Jayshree mentioned, sometimes we don't see, we cannot see ourselves as other people see us. I realized that with an experience I had at the university when I was running for the presidency of the club that we had founded, as well, I was one of the founders. And I thought I would become the chair. It was for me a natural consequence because I had worked so hard for it. And then I realized that actually people were evaluating me on some other grounds. And then they didn't really perceive me as I have perceived myself. So when you ask what your contributions are, you know, for me, it's really hard to tell. And but what I can only explain what I try to do and how to contribute, and then I think the evaluation is up to the people. But when I am, like I said, you know, when I serve at my university and also when I teach, or as a person in life, you know, as an individual in my society, I always try to contribute and I try to touch the lives of my students. I do not only try to teach them what I'm teaching, you know, finance, okay, it's one part, they will need it for finding jobs and all this. But, you know, I also try to open them up a point of view. You know, I try to talk to them whenever they need help with other things. If they want a mentor, I try to be a mentor rather than a teacher or a lecturer, because I believe that my role at the university, I always tell them, I say, okay, I know that you will not remember everything I teach you today, you know, not any word of it maybe, you know, in the future, you may not even remember my name, but if you can only say, okay, we had this professor, she had told us this about life that you remember. If I can touch on your life, if you can just take one thing, because I was very fortunate. I had these type of professors, teachers, like I said, like one of my high school teachers, he, you know, I have this saying, no pain, no gain. And he was my math teacher, and I learned that from him, and it became my motto for some time. And my grandmother, for example, always says, that when she was a child, she read this quote, the roots of education is bitter, but the fruit is sweet. She doesn't know who said this, but I found out that it's actually Aristotle who said it. So I don't know where she read it, but, you know, I grew up with all these. So when I am working, I love my job. I believe that I can give something, and giving is caring for me, and I care. And I always tell my students, you know, if you love what you do, and if you find the job that fits you, that suits you, then you will be successful. You know, I don't measure success as gaining a lot of money. I think success is doing something you're happy with, you're content with, because I think after you especially establish yourself, and once you are over 40 years old, people start looking and asking the question, like, why do I exist? You know, why do we live? And I always believe that there is a reason why people meet each other, why there are certain people are in my life. And I try to make an impact on my students. And as I have tried to explain, with enriching my experience, talking to them, learning from them as well, I try to enrich their experiences. So I also taught in Slovenia at the University of Ljubljana for 2 years, and I continue to teach there. Actually, currently we have the summer school, and I'm teaching online at the summer school as well. And as you see, all these students from different countries, and you know, like I said, you know, we are all humans, we are people, we live on this world, one humanity, the cultures, the languages, and they can only enrich us, the differences. So if we can embrace these differences, I think that's what's most important, and we can only do it with knowledge. You know, knowledge is the power that we have. And that's what I try to do. And that's why I was very happy to serve for 4 years at my university as the international relations coordinator, because as I said, you know, having this international experience has enriched my life, and I've seen its impact on the students. And so I always try to play this role of facilitator and mentor. And sometimes I get this feedback from students, or like after they graduate, I get these emails telling me that you know, we were talking about you the other day with our friends, so we wanted to drop an email to you, or they just, you know, send me a message when they hear that I was successful with something, that they were happy to hear it. Or sometimes they come and say, okay, we take you as an example, you know, thank you. You know, all these things, their appreciation, just a word or from the look in their eyes, I think that shows me that I can touch on their lives. I think touching on the lives of other people is what's important. And that's what I try to do. So it's not just finance that I teach. I try to show them life, how to perceive it and how to embrace it. I don't know if I'm successful, you know, I have to ask my students for that.
No, true. I think we need to all march our ways forward and do our bit of contribution. I think then rest, as I say, we leave it to the God for him to bring the fruits forward. You know, we can only plant the trees, nurture them, and then take the blessings of the God. And I'd love to move to again, Monika. Monika, if you can enlighten us as to what are your contributions, as you've had both the teaching sphere as well as the now the broadcasting sphere. And I know that, you know, you have that caring nature, which I saw in most of my programs whenever I'm there, in the way you cared and you took care of things. So, you know, why don't you enlighten us also of your contribution success paths?
Yeah. Being in All India Radio, where it is the medium of sound, I don't know why I was sent. God Almighty had sent me into this profession. And I had been a very timid, very shy, very introvert person throughout. And then after working here for many years, and my colleagues used to take me to the studios, and I used to have that phobia of speaking in public. So I had to work on it. So I didn't seek any professional help, but I myself changed my attitude and my perception, and then finally I was able to manage on air live, and I started doing this webinar show where I had live with the experts around me, and so much of appreciation I was getting from the audience, and I involved all the men also into this show, because it's my perception that if the men are not going to change their attitudes towards the women, we cannot do anything. So let it be that we are 50% of the population, but need to be there supporting us and pushing us to do things and venture into new things. And for my show also, all the men were there supporting me, and I got so much of appreciation, and it was a wonderful show, and I used to lie on the ground after the show, used to be live for 1 hour, and it was amazing. And for the students who are listening, I would like to say that two things. One, you have to evolve yourself. The life is a changing phase throughout. Everything keeps on changing, and you need to evolve yourself. You should not get fixed that I am like this. And we humans are very unpredictable. We never know. Even we can't understand minds, how we are going to react in what situation, and we are unpredictable. So we need to keep growing, keep evolving, like the life cycle of a butterfly, the metamorphosis that butterfly undergoes from when it is not able to move, and when it becomes a butterfly and it can go places. So this really, it's with our life, we have to keep learning, and basic qualities should be there with us, like honesty. We should be fearless. We should have that kindness. We should be trustworthy. And being a public service broadcaster, we need to be ethical, and we need to grow up with the audience also. We need to have companion sort of behavior relationship with them. So we keep growing. And second thing I want to want them to know this, that we have to keep this environment. We need to work on environment. Start with little things. Start with actions at home. How we can save the environment. Stop stop buying plastic. Stop accepting outside from to carry the things, the shopping we do. These are small things which are going to help, because I've been working on stories. I've been going to places like I went to Vizag, I went to Chidambaram, how mangrove island is protecting. So people, the villagers, they are aware of it. So we should protect our Mother Earth, our planet, the environment there, which is very important for us. So this is what I want to tell you.
Thank you, Monika. I'd like to go to Jayshree now. Jayshree, please.
So thank you, Aman. So no matter what role we play in life, we all are contributing to society. Now that contribution could build the society or destroy the society. Because see, ideas, imaginations, and innovations have dual use and nature. So security of our species, our civilization, depends on the fine balance between constructive and destructive forces. So I took it upon myself to do something about it. Right now, I'm on a mission to talk with 1 billion people, innovators, scientists, entrepreneurs, futurists, technologists, policymakers, to decision makers. And the reason behind this effort through this Risk Roundup initiative is to research, review, rate, and report strategic security risk facing humanity. Now, this collective intelligence effort is essential to understand where we need to focus for our collective security and what destructive forces we need to be mindful about. And I am in the beginning of my journey. It is perhaps going to take me the rest of my life probably, but I will reach there. So while this is an education and awareness initiative, the benefits have been all around. Although I'm trying to educate people, I am myself being educated as well. And what I'm learning, I'm applying to build better technologies to manage the security risk, be that cybersecurity risk or healthcare risk or AI risk. So I do not know if there is any particular path to success. I believed in my mission, my strengths, my purpose, and keep going and will keep going. My journey may confuse many, may be complex, but it is my journey and I refuse to back down until my very last breath. So that is, what I am, pursuing right now.
No, I think it's beautiful what you said and the way you interlock risk. I think every one of us does our own little bit in terms of making that contribution, balancing that out. And it's important that we are able to appreciate it. Unless we appreciate it, what you rightly said is we learn in this process.
I couldn't hear you. I couldn't hear the last part.
Webinar we have been organizing. I think I'm like getting many inputs, new ideas, something which I have been witnessing myself, although I learned while teaching as well. But then, the fact that I am interacting with so many people from across the globe, all their new views, new ideas, disseminate knowledge, and bring in positivity. I'm learning, one of the biggest gainers in a way, I would say. I'd like to go to now Banu for the next question. And Banu, as I said, why I would like to know that I know personally what made you choose your profession, but there are always these tussles when we are young and we grow up that, I want to be this, I want to be that. And I remember when I was in school, I wanted to be an engineer, then I wanted to be an aeroplane and an army officer flying planes, airplanes, because it was so dynamic to see some of them fighting for the country. And we saw so many movies from all across the globe which were there. So I wanted to be a fighter plane person. And then I read about scientists. So I wanted to be a scientist, like a physicist or a chemist. And then it really go on, and what I am today is what I am, both a teacher and a scientist myself. So, but what made you choose this path which you chose, all the three of you, one by one?
Yeah, growing up, actually, I always grew up with these stories, how teachers can affect the society, also in Turkey. after the Turkish Republic was founded in 1928, we changed our alphabet from the Arabic alphabet to the Latin alphabet. And we have Atatürk, our founder's picture, in front of a blackboard. And he himself is teaching the Latin alphabet to the kids. And the idea was to increase the literacy in the country. And we always appreciated the role of the teachers in the society's development. And then my father is not from a big city. Actually, he's from a smaller city, a village nearby Izmir. And why he could study was because he was a very successful student at primary school. And his teachers persuaded his father to send him to a boarding school in the capital of Turkey, in Ankara, so that he could pursue his education. So, you know, these being part of my father's life, knowing this story with what we appreciate. Also, we had these novels where these young teachers who were educated during the first years of the Republic, going to the remote areas of the country, giving education. And then afterwards, you know, I read many books about people who actually impacted the societies, helped them develop through education all around the world, actually, not in Turkey, but education. So actually my idea was always to be in education. But as I said, you know, as I was growing up, you know, whichever school, whichever level of school I went to, I always wanted to be that teacher. And I was always lucky with my teachers. My primary teacher, she always, you know, she gave us a very good education. I think she had the foundations, but it wasn't just information that she was, you know, giving us. And she was taking us to, you know, during one day, for example, we have a cultural park. She would take us, these kids, you know, small kids, to this cultural park. We would play. So she would actually teach us about life as well. And then going to junior high and high school, I had teachers from whom I could learn more than what they were supposed to teach in class as well. Also with all the extracurricular activities, I realized that actually education is not just, you know, learning maths, learning geography. It's actually something that you have a perspective, a point of view. So I always wanted to be part of that. And I always wanted to, because I thought that the reason why I exist is to give something. If I am born in this world, you know, I should give something, that I should have a role. Not like a position, you know, not like chairhead, but just like as an individual, when I live in a society, I have a role. So always, as I said, you know, I was always trying to organize some things, but at the same time, I knew that I had to develop myself. You know, I also had to learn, and I'm still learning. Learning is a continuous journey. It never ends. And I learn from my students, I learn from my elderly professors, colleagues, everyone, everything I lived through, I try to get a lesson from it. Whatever I experience, you know, even if it's bad or good, I say, okay, Banu, this is the lesson you should get from this. And the way I live my life is like when I look at myself in the mirror before I go to bed, if I have a clean conscience and if I am satisfied with what I did that day, then, you know, I'm happy. And I always, like I said, you know, with your interactions with different people, you really learn a lot. Like my experience in Slovenia really developed me a lot, because when I went there, Slovenia is a small country, 2 million people. Going there from a country which has 70 million, which is small for Indians, you know, but big for the Slovenians. You know, when they were saying, oh, we are a small country, we are a small country, I was like, like, why do you say that? And then you start looking at things from a different perspective. You understand them as well. So, you know, you learn about their economy, the way they look at finance, yes, my own area, but also looking at life, you know, being a part of former Yugoslavia, what they bring from that heritage, and being from the Balkans, you know, their interaction with the Ottoman Empire and our perception of the Ottoman Empire, everything, you know, from history to the way of life. You learn a lot from other people. And I always try to transmit this experience to other people. And being at the university seems perfect for me, for my own cause, because I have 3 hats. You know, I do research, which I like a lot, and I learn a lot. So that's my education continuing. I teach, I lecture, so I transmit what I learn professionally, but at the same time, I have this interaction with my students with whom I can share other stuff. So some personal experiences, life experiences. And also I have these administrative duties which help me serve my society in different ways. Also, you know, doing research and disseminating this information to the professional bodies or in other areas in the society, visiting maybe high schools, you know, going to other activities. These really make me feel that I'm serving a purpose. So that's how I ended up being a professor, and I'm really happy about it.
Thank you for being there with us in this field. I'd like to go to Monika now. Monika, what made you choose your path? Although you did reflect initially about how you moved from being in academics to coming here, but was it always a craving inside you to do something like this, or it just happened?
As Banu had said, that life is a learning experience and we keep learning throughout. That is very important for the students also to know that we have to keep learning throughout and must celebrate life as it is, as it comes. And my area domain was child development. So I tried to, and I came into broadcasting. And how do I relate? So I tried to integrate the principles of child development, which I had learned, and I applied it here in broadcasting. So what I did, I thought of various topics like heredity is more important or environment is more important in anyone's life. So I had been working on women achievers. So I recorded around, I got to meet around women achievers, right from Gulati, the dancer, who told me that the moment she was born, the mother was very upset because she was the 7th or 9th maybe daughter born into the family. And just few days old, 3 or 4 days old, and she was taken by the mother, gave her to her Masi, the other sister, and she asked her to go and bury her in the desert of Rajasthan. And Masi did it. She just took it and she buried her somewhere. And then she felt guilty and she realized, since I am having so many sons, I should take this daughter and I should bring her up. And she brought her. She was able to survive, and then she became the world famous dancer, Gulati. And then I came to know the story of Captain Lakshmi Sehgal. So 100 women achievers were throughout teaching me something. I was learning from them how their life journey had been. So it was very interesting, and my personality also kept on changing. So Captain Lakshmi Sehgal had immense contribution in our independence, and she told me, and she had been scolding me throughout that I was expecting her to come to studio. Then she said, "You come over," and I had gone and met her. So it was very interesting. So I got to meet so many people, and it's a very good learning experience all the time. And then I was doing programs called when heredity is more important or environment is more important. So what I did, I invited the women achiever, and the anchor was sitting in front of in the whole group. She had brought the person who had the most influence, most influential person of their life, of her life. She had brought, suppose, the gurus, the mother, the father, the sibling, or any of her um, uh, classmates or anybody. And then the psychologist was sitting in the studio, and simultaneously she was asking questions. And then we came to know that heredity is more important. Parents were able to tell that these characteristics were there in the child when she was a baby. So it was really very interesting journey. So this is apply whatever we have learned in our daily life, because this is what happens when we learn something in school or college, we do not apply it in our real life. So that is also very important to be done. Thank you.
No, I'm very thankful you shared those live experiences and those anecdotes and stories. And this story was very beautiful for that young girl who actually has been abundant and then she becomes who she is. And I think these are real success stories which all of us should read, irrespective of gender, in my opinion, and learn from them. I'd like to go to now, Jayshree, if she can go. Did you always want to be a risk person or doing what you are doing today as a young child?
No, and I think the question that the topic that you have initiated the discussion on, what made you choose the path you have chosen, is very interesting, because I was thinking about it, and when both of the previous speakers guests were reflecting on their journey, and I thought about it, and I realized that I didn't choose my path. I think my path chose me. And for many years, I did not understand the forces of nature that were shaping my life and my purpose. But now, as I connect all the dots, it has become quite clear why my father put that extra effort in my education and upbringing, and why my efforts shifted from micro to macro, and now why I'm on a pursuit to protect the future of humanity. These are very complex, events that have shaped my life, and it got me on this journey of identifying the security risk to protect the future of humanity. So to your question, in a short answer is, I didn't choose that. The path chose me, and I'm now just, going on that path and doing what the universe wants me to do.
That's a very interesting perspective. And I think many of us have this at different stages of life. I'd like to go to Banu now. Banu, my next question has two components to it. One is that how do you go about celebrating life, and who are those people whom you like to recognize today in terms of who have made contributions in your life journey?
Yeah, actually, I can say that I should start with my family. Of course, my parents are the major contributors, because as Jayshree mentioned, her father, if my parents didn't provide me the education, the life I had as a child, if they didn't given me this way of looking at things, the perspective, then probably I would go in a different path. So of course my family is the foremost major, they played the major role in my life. And then my primary teacher, as I said, I think she really gave me the education to pursue further education and look at things in a different perspective. I would mention for sure my math teacher at high school, who I have this no pain, no gain. And then, of course, my father financed my studies in the US. That's something that I'm really grateful for, because it opened the way for me. And I had an Indian teacher actually there, an accounting teacher, and he really made an impact on me. Maybe he also helped me decide, okay, I want to be a professor. Also, my professors at at the university, when I came back, my supervisor at the PhD program, he definitely had an impact. You know, he was my academic father, and what I learned from him, his wife, who was Italian, you know, they really made a major impact on my life, the way I look at things, the way I perceive academia, life, you know, their impact is not ignorable. And then after I went to Slovenia, you know, I had very good friends there from all walks of life, you know, from all ages, who were my parents' age to younger friends, and they made an impact on me. And with all the people that have impacted on my life, and there were also some others who caused some bad experiences for me, I also embraced them, because if they weren't there, I wouldn't be able to appreciate the good. You know, you have to have bad days to appreciate the good days. So I think as life comes along, we should be able to embrace it. Of course, there will be times when we don't like what comes in front of us, but there's always a reason why we live through things. And I see that with all the difficulties, we have an opportunity, you know, we have a lesson to learn. And if we can see that, maybe at first we are all humans, you know, we will react. But then, you know, just taking a step back and thinking, why did this happen? Why did I live this? You know, what is it in there for me to get? Then I think, you know, we can go with stronger steps and pursue what we are going after.
Yes. Thank you for that insight. Moving forward, I would request now, Monika, if you could, although we did miss on that celebration of life, Banu, and I'll request if you could take that up in the last question. But then, Monika, I would like to come to you as well. You did mention of celebrating life. I would like your perspective of how do you go about celebrating life, your own self, and whom would you like to identify in this journey?
I feel that every moment is precious. Live this moment, plan for tomorrow. Whatever is destined for you, it will come on your way. You don't have to keep planning, and just live this moment. And the life is going to keep on adding. It's a changing throughout passing phase. And for me, I love children, and my children are my pillars of strength. And since I'd done my child development, I'd chosen this because I had this love for children. I enjoy watching them, being with them, because they're full of energy, full of enthusiasm, so much of positivity, and they are pure bliss to be around. So I've been, even though this is not related to my job, but still I prefer to go to school and meet them and how they are learning new things. So I try to keep connected with the children. And I have been, I've read my children also as friends. I've never been very strict with them or scolded them, strong, disciplining, but they have come out well. They're growing up nicely and learning new things all the time. So this is what keep learning. Learning will never cease, even if we have gray hair, but this is how we should keep going, keep learning.
Whom would you like to recognize those who have contributed in your life? I know there may be many, but if you would like to take, recognize some of them.
I'm not able to.
Whom would you like to recognize as major contributors in your life journey?
My husband and my work, because every day I meet new people, get connected with new people, and it's very nice to be there all the time. It's a great learning experience every day.
Thank you, Monika. I'll go to Jayshree now. Yes, Jayshree.
Thank you. Thank you. So this pandemic has given me a very unique perspective. As right now, I'm writing a book on pandemics, and when I started doing research, I was really very surprised as what makes us humans. You know, we humans are superorganisms. That means besides our human cells, tissues, and organs, trillions of microorganisms that live inside us, on us, and near us, they play a role in the effective functioning of our body and mind. So it is not only my physical human body or my genome, but trillions of microbes, and my parents and my family, my teachers, my supporters, my advisors, and my followers have made me who I am. I'm the youngest of 5 children, and my father, when I look back, he somehow knew. He was a deeply spiritual man. He somehow knew who I am to become. So he would wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning and prepare special classes, special lessons to teach me. Before he would go to college to teach his students, he was a professor in engineering college. So all my siblings, they went to Gujarati medium school. I came from Gujarat. Now I am a US citizen. But they all went to Gujarati medium school, but he put me in English medium school and made sure that I got the education he thought was absolutely essential. And his contributions to my life are immeasurable. I have a supportive husband, and I'm also blessed by children who support my mission. My son, who just graduated college, puts in enormous time and efforts in helping me in every way, whatever needs to be done. And so I firmly believe that my life is not just mine. It is shaped by a whole community. So there are many, many, people and variables that have played a role in who I have become and who I would like to celebrate.
True. I fully agree with you. And those reviews of all of you, the way you have presented them. And I come to the last question for today, which is that I personally feel, and that's why we posed and that's why we created this, is that your persona, whatever little impact, but it does have impact on, and it has an empowering impact on millions of women around. Many times we don't even come to know, and many of people around are actually witnessing and benefiting from that persona. What will be your message to these people, young people, all age group of people who actually benefit from your persona and for their life?
I would say never stop running after knowledge, and take responsibility of your decisions, of your life, and embrace life as it comes. There will be opportunities. If a door closes, another one opens. What I would say.
Yes, and the question which was left, I wanted you to answer also, is that how do you go about celebrating life? But
I thought I answered that. I take it as it comes, and I try to embrace and learn from it. Yeah, I answered the questions in reverse, I suppose. Sorry for that.
Thank you, Monika. Yes, what will be your message to young minds and people?
I would like to say that each one of us, we are precious, we are unique. We should not try to copy anybody. We should follow, be inspired, but we should not copy anybody, and we should be flexible in life. Take it as it is coming. Be flexible. Don't be rigid, because if you're going to become rigid, then it is going to lose all the charm and it's going to break. So be flexible in life. Take the things as it is, as it comes. And Banu said, embrace it, life as it is coming to you. That's it.
Thank you. I'll go to now Jayshree. Your message.
Thank you, Aman. So we all start with the same first step. So as we learn to walk, there are plenty of times we fall, but we get back up and we learn to walk. So no fall stops us from learning how to walk. So no matter what purpose you have in life, the missions you identify, the milestones you want to conquer, you need to remember that none of them will come without stumbling blocks. You will go through many falls, many failures, but do know you have already learned how to get back up. So nothing is impossible and nothing should stop you. If you want to do something, be something, there is no force on this planet that should be able to stop you. it has not stopped me. I have fallen many times, and every time I have got back up. I know in my pursuit of protecting the future of humanity, nothing is easy. And my life's journey has prepared me to face the future, meet the unknowns, and lot of inner courage, and with a lot of inner courage and strength. So it is our life's journey that is a source of our inner strength. So no matter where you are now, what role you are playing, what identity has bound you, what purpose you have, what path you have chosen, your life and contribution are playing a role in our collective future. The future of humanity depends on each one of us, and I am sure you will play your part in protecting our collective future. Thank you.
Thank you, Jayshree, for that. And I would like to thank all the three of you for having joined us today for this event, and also for commensurating and recognizing your contributions. I would like to welcome you to the IIF family. As the recognition is bestowed, you become a part of our family, and I go one by one on all the three of you who we recognize. As Banu is there, this is, as I said, a recognition for contribution as the women of the 21st century towards servicing humanity, women empowerment, and inducing positivity, growth, and development, which is, in my opinion, the key aspect which all of us must entail in terms of doing. I will now go to the next one, which is Monika. I'd like to again thank Monika and recognize her contribution to the women of 21st century towards servicing humanity, women empowerment, inducing positivity, growth, and development. Initially, when we were conceiving this, we thought we would recognize you in your own areas, but then we said, no, we must, because the common goal is the same in terms of getting it up there. So we thought we'll recognize all of you in the same frame, which is there in all different directions, in different ways. As the Rig Veda saying says, knowledge comes from all dimensions. Similar is the contribution which you make, and I would like to recognize Jayshree also for her contributions towards servicing humanity, women empowerment, and positivity towards growth and development. With this, I would be coming to the end, but I think we can take one or two more questions. If there are any, we are fairly in time. So if there's anyone who would like to ask a question or something, then we will be happy to take a question or two from the audience. And then we would like to close it for the day. But before that, I will announce what we have in hand for guests from all over the world to be witnessing and doing course. I do see Bharat, who has joined in from Sweden, and I see a couple of other people. I think they've left now, but I saw two senior government officers also were here before. Dr. Saroj Bala, who is a Vedic scientist and has been writing a lot of books, has been a senior government officer, was here. Then Bharat is there. I wonder if he wants to say something or ask something. Bharat, if you can switch on your video. Anyone else who would like to ask a question to our guest today? Otherwise, we'll call it a day. Bharat Barot, if you're here. Anyone else who would like to have a question? Perfect then. I would like to thank all the ladies. I think you beautifully put it across. It's very important. I think although your messages, are to primarily our function was to motivate young women from all spheres, whether small towns or big towns. But in my opinion, last 4 sessions which I've had, whatever all of you young women have spoken actually implies on all of us, irrespective of male and female. And I think I have, as I said, benefited a lot. I would like to thank you. As I said, you're part of the family now. As we have tried to name it, we call it the IIF Knighthood. And so you are part of that group, and we will be troubling you because we will be taking some calls on what is to be done together. So it's like a board we are creating of women now. So all of you, I will be getting in touch with all of you as a member, and then organize at least one meeting in a month to call on and what should we do as a group, as an educational institution, as to what can we do and what can we have in terms of common, in terms of getting all of you from different platforms all across the globe together in terms of contributing towards the women empowerment, humanity, and the main goal, as I said on your certificate, positivity and growth and togetherness, which is very important. Thank you all, and namaskar, and Jai Hind and Vande Mataram.
Thank you.
Thank you.